So first, as we all know, J.B. Pritzker and Governor Bruce Rauner are, two multi-billionaires. This is going to be the most expensive race in American history for the seat of governor. And some recent polling data has come out to where the Democratic challenger, J.B. Pritzker, leads the Republican governor, Bruce Rauner, by 9 points. So this is a huge deal. It's about around 36 to 27, and with 26% choosing to remain unnamed for a third-party candidate, 11% undecided. This is a win for J.B., but not quite. It's not good enough. It's not double digits because – number one, there's a couple. Well, first, let me start over. There's a lot of factors we have to take into account. During the primary, especially early on when it came down choosing who would be the nominee, there was a low voter turnout. Now, it should be noted that Democrats turned out more, but when it came down to the largest voting bloc, millennials only represented 3% of the vote. Yeah. So J.B. Pritzker won. He got the nomination, and Governor Bruce Rauner also won his very contested and heavily fought primary race as well. But with that being said, it's quite clear that J.B. Pritzker has a long way to go. The Democratic Party, for a long time, has abandoned a lot of the counties here in Illinois, so he has to definitely do a large public outreach to many potential voters. And since he is a Cook County Democrat, it might not win a lot of people over, especially those who live in counties outside the region near where Cook County's at. So that's something to take into account. And even though while he is ahead by 9 points, he hasn't yet to capitalize on the fact that Governor Bruce Rauner has also lost support, especially in the Republican House and Senate, especially when we had the budgetary crisis happening between him and Speaker of the House Michael Madigan. So it is yet to be seen really what kind of what the end result will be between J.B. Pritzker and Bruce Rauner and who can win. Of course, it might come down to being neck to neck, and really matters on who's going to have the better public outreach and who can actually really make a presence during the debates. But there's also potential for the Libertarian Party to also maybe get a couple more votes too, to possibly get the potential 5%. But that is yet to be seen too. What's really going to matter is who's going to turn out to vote and why they're turning out to vote.
So what's interesting about this is this was, what we were talking about before, this is closer to like what happened in the previous presidential election between Hillary and Trump, only in this case it's Hillary and Jeb. Mm-hmm. It's two candidates that each side isn't that excited about, and a lot of people really dislike. And the numbers you're talking about, they barely get even a third of the votes of all the people in America, in Illinois that can vote. It's going to be interesting. It's going to come out to who can push out their sluggish turnout. I mean, this isn't going to be a very popular election. They're not very popular among their own parties.
No.
This is what we were afraid of, because when you depress turnout, you increase the chance that the Republicans will win because they have a very stable voting bloc, whereas Democrats are more likely to just not show up. So if there was a circumstance where, again, it's another candidate that should be a slam dunk, this is the case. And it's also because, again, a huge amount of money.
I look at the Illinois gubernatorial election as sort of a microcosm for everything that's wrong with the way the parties are run in this country, right? You've got an incumbent Republican who's not well liked by the party, and then you've got a Byzantine Democratic primary that produces another billionaire corporatist Democrat that doesn't enthuse anyone. It's just like, no, I mean, are either of them going to govern even marginally differently from each other? Like, I find it hard to care, and this comes back to the primary process in the Democratic Party. If it was more open, if people were more energized about it, if there was more messaging that came through, we would have a better debate, and we could have better candidates. But this is the system working as intended to give us blah.
Yeah, here's the thing. We have a system in which the neoliberal system has already selected its two candidates, and the result of it is that people aren't excited for either one of them. And it was quite clear during the primary that the Democratic establishment here in Illinois wanted J.B. Pritzker. And they were doing everything they could to really, make JB their candidate. But what they didn't take into account was, one, Senator Daniel Biss and his progressive campaign, and to a lesser extent, Chris Kennedy as well. And the thing is, we did speak to a lot of people with the Daniel Biss campaign, and look, they really worked hard to phone bank and get his name out there, and he did a phenomenal job getting second place and actually getting out there. The problem is that we have a system in which people
Pritzker spent, what was it, $70 million?
Yeah, $70 million of his own money.
During the primary.
Yeah, during the primary. But the problem is that we have a system in which people are trained not to care or be, are just not interested in participating in voting. And if millennials did turn out to vote, especially during the Illinois primary, it is theoretically possible that Daniel Biss could have won the nomination, and he could have been leading against Governor Bruce Rauner a little bit higher than what J.B. Pritzker was.
Yeah, I wonder how many people didn't even realize that it was a voting day.
Daniel, you got a story.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that a vote was happening. A lot of people. I remember after I voted, I was like celebrating, I voted, I'm going to get myself a pizza. And the delivery boy came and he's like, talked for a second. I'm like, there's a vote today. He's like, no. I'm like, do you live in this, like, within 5 blocks of here? He's like, yeah. Just go down 2 blocks and vote. Because when it turned out, like Kit said, it wasn't just that millennials 3%, it was that people 18 to 25 voted 3%. And here's something I think should be said, because there's so many people that say they haven't earned my vote, therefore I'm not going to vote. I think that it's a terrible way to look at voting. If you are unhappy, because I want to separate people that actually just don't care from people who actually want to do something. If you want to do something, here's how you do it. You go in to vote, and you don't fill anyone's out, or you just fill out the ballots, but you fill no one out. You don't vote for anyone, and then you say you turn it in. Even if it's a blank sheet, you turn it in, because at least then you're showing that you have the capacity to vote. You will go out and vote, but not for them. They haven't earned it. So if the Democrats all of a sudden get 10% of their ballots are just blank ballots that no one's filled out, that says to them, oh, that's resistance. That's votes that we have lost, that they could have been there, they would have showed up, and we didn't get them. Because if you don't vote, then you have, like what Kit said, you have 18 to 25-year-olds that voted, 3% of which voted. That makes Pritzker, and it's already been shown of how he has balanced his general campaign to, why would he care about any of the issues that are held by people?
College tuition.
Why would he care about that?
Yeah.
Because if he does care about it, he'll get 3% of that population to vote at most. Why would he put any effort into that when he can put the same amount of effort into getting maybe 5% of a different block to vote that's even smaller?
Yeah.
If you don't show up, even you don't have to vote for someone. We're never going to say you must vote this way. We've always said we don't care who you vote for, but you got to vote, even if that vote is to vote for no one, to show that they aren't getting your vote.
Yeah, and on top of that, J.B. Pritzker has said that he's for a progressive income tax and he's for the legalization of cannabis, but he's not pushing forward any other progressive agenda.
He's also not in office and he's campaigning, so we have no idea with J.B. with his non-record of how he does things.
Yeah.
Of if he's going to even, I don't think he's going to push a progressive. I think he's going to get something lesser than it.
Yeah, or maybe either that he's actually trying to say some stuff to actually get some progressive support. But from all accounts, he's out there, but he's not really doing a huge progressive independent outreach, and he's going to need that because 40% of Americans identify themselves as independents. And I understand where you're coming from to where he's not going to. Why would he? But he should, because this will be a tight race between him and Governor Bruce Rauner. And if neither one of them, or especially if J.B. Pritzker doesn't take action, it is possible to say that he can lose this thing. Like, this race is in between the air. Like, people have 2 choices here in Illinois, 2 billionaires, Republican or Democrat. No matter what it is, they're both billionaires. And if Governor Bruce Rauner becomes governor again, there is a possibility of another budgetary crisis, because I don't think he's forgotten how Michael Madigan has defeated him.
No,
go ahead. I just wonder how anyone, because J.B. Pritzker had a little bit of sort of progressive rhetoric during the primary. I just wonder how anyone can buy that when his family name is literally on Northwestern University's law school and is on the Pritzker Pavilion. Like,
and there's so many other areas where Pritzker has the Pritzker family has his name.
How can you possibly believe that this man is fighting for the common person? How can you possibly buy that?
Yeah, it's for me. It's hard to really take that, take him seriously on that. But with that being said, look, we had Cash Jackson on our show. He's running as the Libertarian candidate. So, J.B. Pritzker, if you're listening or someone from the campaign is listening, me and Daniel have definitely did an outreach towards your campaign to come onto our show. Governor Bruce Rauner, if someone from his campaign is listening, come onto our show because we want to hear where both of you stand on the issues, especially
Defend
in regards.
Yourselves.
Yeah, come onto our show. It's no harm. We just want to have a conversation in regards to where you stand on the issues and how you're going to help out the people of Illinois, because the people of Illinois are still recovering from the budgetary crisis. People are leaving this state en masse. There's a lack of opportunity, lack of real public infrastructure, and what we need now in the state, now more than ever, is effective leadership from the governor's office. So, J.B. Pritzker, Governor Bruce Rauner, if you're listening, come on to our show. Daniel?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in addition to all this, like you said, we have Pritzker, and you have two people that, again, it's just the same thing. They're coming from a business background, which is running a government is very different from running a business. You might have the same kind of hierarchy, top down, and may be getting into it is different. But a government, when working correctly, is the government working to improve the lives of its citizens. That's what you want to have. When a business works correctly, a small amount of people get a large amount of money. So if we have either Pritzker or more Rauner in, people are just assets. They're not citizens. This is a situation where we just don't have good candidates. We had an election where a primary put in more money than it takes to run maybe 5 House elections or 10 House elections. This is money in politics. This is what you get. If you have the money, you can buy your way into a seat, because all you need to do is get enough people to know about you and to come out to vote for you, and if you pay enough people to push out that, you can do it. And that's really sad, because it means that America is like a slot machine. The way we elect is like a slot machine. You can put money in, and as long as you have the right amount and you have the right time, you're going to get lucky eventually.
But on a slot machine, the house always wins.
Yeah.
It's like a slot machine where some people can rig it, basically.
Well, yeah, no, but like you said, the house always wins. For everyone that's running, you don't have a guaranteed chance of winning. Mm-hmm. But if you have 1,000 tries, it's much easier to get a jackpot because you have the capacity to put it in.
I got you.
Yeah, whereas if I can just do one nickel in, it's different.